Hello there, friends. It's Kristine Vicente with Queen City Stamp Art, and I'm back for day 9 of the 12 Days of Christmas card series. Today we're going to be making a card using the Christmas season bundle as well as elements from the Christmas to Remember bundle. So these are part of the Painted Christmas Suite, and we aren't going to be using any images from this set. We're just going to be using one of the label-shaped dies for the sentiment on this card. And then on here we're going to be using this sentiment, and we're going to be using one of the pine dies, so we're going to use this detail die. I cut a section of this using mossy meadow cardstock, and I ended up with a couple of little pine sprigs that we're going to use to decorate our card. So we're just going to use a little section of that, but you do need some sort of pine sprig for this card. So a 12 Days of Christmas card series would not be complete without a strip card, because you know that I've been making cards like a lunatic and have lots of scraps left over. So these scraps are from the Heartwarming Hugs Designer Series paper, and I had bigger pieces that I just sort of cut little strips out of, not big enough to cover a panel or to really do much with, so I just kind of cut them into little strips. And then we're going to cover this little 3x4 inch piece, and then we're going to layer it onto a larger 3¼ by 4¼ inch piece to decorate our card front. So let's start by putting some adhesive on this panel. Now these types of cards are wonderful to make using any types of scraps, not just Christmas. So if you find yourself in a bit of a card making frenzy and you've got a bunch of scraps left over, don't throw them in the garbage, not when you have Designer Series paper, because they make beautiful, beautiful card elements and create just such fun, interesting backgrounds. So I just layered on some adhesive, and I'm just going to add some of these little strips to this panel here, like this. Oh, that's going to need some adhesive. And then we'll flip it and add some more. And you can put them on in any order you like, of course. It's fun to kind of mix it up. Just like that. And then the whole thing is covered. And now I'm just going to take my scissors, and I'm going to use the edge of that basic white cardstock as a guide and trim off these extra lengths. And when you're making these cards, you can even be more conservative with the way you place your strips, so you end up having bigger leftovers that you can use on other panels. So it is a really fun way to use up your scraps, because it creates just such a fun little background panel that you can, you know, embellish with even just a simple sentiment like we're going to do today. We're not going to go crazy. We're just going to let the Designer Series paper speak for itself. So then we have a few more scraps, and some of those bigger ones could be used on another panel. But just to show you how that works, I just wanted to do that kind of on camera. And now we have this little panel. And now what we're going to do is we're going to layer that onto this matte piece. And the white's going to really make it stand out nicely on the Pear Pizzazz base card. There we go. Okay. And now we're going to take our base card in Pear Pizzazz. This measures 11 by 4¼ And, you know, this is a traditional kind of top folding portrait style base card that you normally use this way. But we're going to turn it on its side, and it's going to open this way. So I'm going to decorate the inside with just a little panel of white off camera. But for now, we're going to layer on this panel to the front of the card, just centering it top to bottom and side to side like this. So here's our little decorative piece. And then we're going to do some stamping. So I die cut one of the little label panels, and we're going to take a sentiment from that Christmas to Remember stamp set. I've got my Mossy Meadow ink pad because the dark green in this is Mossy Meadow. So it makes it really nice and easy to coordinate. And I'm just going to stamp this sentiment here, like this. And then we're going to layer this on. Now, to make this sentiment stand out a little bit more, I'm going to add a circle of vellum. So I'm just going to put a little strip of adhesive in the center of that because it will show through. Oops. And I want to center this side to side and top to bottom, like that. Then this is going to pop up over top of the vellum circle. So the vellum kind of creates like a little focal spot. And it just adds another interesting layer to the design of the card. This is a fairly simple card. The designer series paper does all the work as far as the interest goes. And then we have this nice big sentiment. And I'm just going to put that, pop up the sentiment panel like that. And then we have these cute little pine sprigs. So I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive to the back of the pine and kind of tuck these in. It's a little bit too long. I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive here. Tuck them in. Just like that. And then this one too. This is going to be a little long, so I'll take that off. Put a little bit of a tape on the back and just kind of tuck that in here. So it sticks out the top, just like that. That's kind of pretty. And then to finish this card with some embellishments, we're going to add some of these pretty wonderful gems. I'm going to take a couple of the big ones and put one on each side of the label panel, like that. And that's it. So that's the card for today. I think this is kind of a lovely one. I like the way the designer series paper really sets off the sentiment, and it's a very simple card, but pretty too, and very Christmassy, very traditional Christmas. So I hope you like this one, and I'll see you tomorrow.